Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're just going to jump right into talking about personal growth, personal development, which is something that I talked about in my rebranding video that I really want to start talking about. And I think that it's super important to me now because I think that there was a really hard stage of motherhood where it just felt like this sounds really harsh, but it almost feels like you're focused so much on your baby and your child that you kind of forget that it's still your life too. Like your life doesn't stop because you have a baby. Like you still keep living and now you add the baby. So I know that might not make sense to some people, but I just feel like you can spend so much time trying to make your kids' life great and fantastic that sometimes you kind of forget that you need to make your own life great and fantastic. And I think that in turn, that's like a full circle moment where if you aren't fully fulfilled in your life, like your kids are going to pick up on that. And so I just think it's truly important to just really focus on yourself too. Like remember that you are still growing and turning into a better person and just all the things. So today we are going to be talking about the 1% rule. And I've seen this on other social media things before. The 1% rule is basically I guess it's it's almost the opposite of New Year's resolutions where you wake up January 1 and you're like, I'm this whole new 2.0 better, greater person and I'm going to start doing all these things. It's almost like the exact opposite of that because it's okay, right now I'm just going to focus on getting 1% better. So I'm just going to change one little thing in my life and keep going about it that way. And then once you have that little thing down, you can move on to the next little thing. And I know that there are some people that they talk about getting 1% better every single day. I'm not gonna put any restrictions on or anything on it. I'm just gonna talk about kind of the way that I'm going about it because I really have tried to implement this the last little while of my life. Little things that I can start changing that just make me a happier person in general, I guess. I mean, if you think about it, if you're doing 1%, if you're getting 1% better every day, that's a ton different than you were at the beginning of the year. Now, obviously I'm going to look at it from a little bit more of a realistic because there's just some days that you just don't feel like doing anything. And you just take a break and you don't do all the things all the time and you just kind of pause and refresh. So I think that getting 365% better every year is a stretch, but I do think that it's a good goal and I do think that it's really important to continue the growth. So one thing that I do want to also mention is that as I've went on this journey myself, I think that it's really important to realize that the going through the journey part is part of it's part of it. I just don't I know the person that I want to be and yeah, it would be great if I could just wake up and be that person. But obviously there are a lot of habits, good and bad, that I have. And one thing that I've learned is it's just important to stop doing some habits as it is to start doing new habits. And I've also found that it's easier to start new habits if you get rid of some of the ones you're already doing. It just kind of opens up space for the new habits to start. So now that I've rambled about this, I do want to go into some actionable steps to implement the 1% rule into your life. The first one is to start by setting clear goals. So obviously you need to know the things that you want to start doing before you start the whole process. So once you have set your clear goals about how you're going to improve your life by 1%, you're going to take those items, you're going to break them down into action items basically. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to see a little bit of progression without actually being at the end result yet. And I think that when you can see the small steps that you're taking, it really helps keep your motivation up and it really just allows you to have a lot less pressure on yourself to get to the end result if you're just taking these little action item steps. I just know that that really helps me. And then really it's just, I know, and I say just it's easy, it's not, but just staying consistent. So once you have those action items, you need to do those things consistently. Now, if you really struggle with implementing whatever the thing is that you want to do, so say I want to make sure I read for a certain amount of time every single day, and I'm just really, really struggling with that. I'm not going to do 14 other things to try to improve those things at the same time that I'm trying to do that. So just make sure that you set realistic goals when you break everything down. There are some things that are really easy that you can do 2 things at a time. Like, say I want to not snooze every day, and then I also want to put myself together every day. So those things kind of go hand in hand. Like, if I don't snooze, it allows me more time to get around. So like doing those at the same time makes a little bit more sense than like getting around every day and reading for 30 minutes a day. Like, you could do those at 2 different times. So there are times when stacking them together is good. And there are other times when you really just need to focus on doing the one thing. And once you get that under your belt, then you can move forward with the next thing. And again, just staying consistent is really good. And like, if you miss a day, just remember, like, you're not completely starting from scratch. Like, just because you missed the day doesn't mean that you're like done, you can't do it, whatever. Like, it just means you missed the day. So the next day, do it. And then it's just one missed day. And then it's not just thinking that you can't do it and then eventually having to start from scratch all over again. So don't get too discouraged when you miss a day. And just know that that's why it's only 1%, because, sometimes you're just not going to do it. Like, sometimes you're just not in the mood, you don't feel like it. And that's okay. It's okay to have those days. Now, the next thing is to not neglect tracking your progress. So you can do this however you want. You can get apps that track your progress. There's checklists. You could just do it mentally if you want, but to me, that's no fun. So what I do is I use my planner, which I've talked about my planner multiple times on here because I love them. I just truly love having a planner. But in my planner, I have this bottom section here that is set for habits. And so what I do is that week I will say, like, okay, these are the things that I want to focus on this week. So like, my ones for this week is I want to read every night. I want to not drink pop. That is an off and on goal for me. I really struggle because I love pop like a lot. So I'm constantly trying to cut back and so anyway, so that's one of my goals this week. And then reading my Bible every day. So those are like the 3 things that I want to do every day this week. I keep track of them in my planner, and then I usually have some of those that go into the next week, and then some of them maybe I don't. So I just like having that visual aid because then I can, check it off, and that's super satisfying. And that is a motivator for me. If that's not a motivator for you, do something different. But I mean, they have apps. You could use like a spreadsheet on your computer. You could just journal about it. And there is a lot of power in being able to track your progress in whatever shape or form you want to do that. But I just highly recommend it. Even if it's just like a piece of paper, like you can do it like you're potty training a toddler and like give yourself a sticker. Like, it can be something so simple, but just whatever you want to do, I just highly recommend tracking your progress. The next thing is I want, again, to go over some of the challenges that you can come across, and there can be setbacks. I just think that this is where the real opportunity for growth is, because I think that thinking that you're always going to have the motivation to do the things is just unrealistic. You're not always going to be motivated, and that is why I think that making things that you want to incorporate in your life a habit is such a good thing, because if it's a habit, then it doesn't matter if you're motivated to do it. It's just what you're going to do, and that is a fast track to something scary sometimes, because the same can be said for good habits as it is for bad habits. So you can do a bad habit every single day and not want to, but because it's a habit, you're doing it anyway. And so I just think that, there are going to be setbacks, and I think that that's okay. Just embrace them and use it as a way to grow and to get better. And then you can learn resilience, and you can teach yourself how to say no a little bit better. And I just think that you can use them as learning opportunities, and just please do not use them as like, well, I can't do this, and then just give up. So setbacks are normal. They are not the end of the road. If you mess up, if you have a setback, just roll with the punches and keep going. Again, if it's something you've already been doing, you're not starting from scratch. It is just a setback. Now, the other thing to kind of keep yourself motivated for inspiration, I do want to talk about a couple things that I do. So the first one obviously was using a way to track it. Just visually being able to see your progress. That's really great. But there's 2 things that I want to talk about, and they're both things that I do on a regular basis. And the first one is to find somebody, whether that be somebody that you follow on Instagram or watch on YouTube or whatever, that is doing the same thing that you are doing. And not necessarily the same habit, but maybe somebody who is going through the same type of journey as you. They are trying to incorporate these new things into their life, and they just really inspire you to keep going. So maybe you want to lose some weight. What you would do is you'd find somebody who has set some realistic expectations about how to lose weight, and you follow them. You can use them to find tips to help yourself and just to stay motivated. And obviously you can do this in real life too. If you just want to have like an accountability partner in your real life, like you can do that too, but just find other people who you can use as inspiration to keep going when it's really hard to keep going. The second thing that I want to talk about is some books that can help you. Now, these are both books that I'm a little bit late to the game in reading, but I've read both of them this year and I really like them. I honestly am going to read them multiple times just because there's different things that I pick out each time. And the first one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Again, I know I'm late to the game on this book, but this book is super helpful when it comes to what in the book they call it habit stacking. It's where something you're already doing, you put the habit on, like you do it at the same time so that you associate them and it becomes a habit stack. He explains it way better than I just did. So I just highly recommend that you read the book. Sorry, James Clear, that I just butchered your book, but I'm a huge fan. The second book that I'm going to talk about, it's available on Kindle Unlimited, but that is this book right here, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson. Not a fan of the name, huge fan of the book. I have not read the second book by him, but I really, really want to. I think I read this in like a day and a half, and I absolutely love it. Like, this was so good. It's about, so it says a counterintuitive approach to living a good life. And this just really helps set priorities in your life more so than habits. But I am a chronic overthinker and kind of lifts a weight off your shoulders if you go about life with this type of mentality. So I just really recommend this book. And then again, the Atomic Habits for the actual making and breaking of habits in your life. So those are just my two recommendations book wise. And I just think that there's a lot to learn about people who have already done what you are trying to do. There's a lot to be said about learning from them, taking their advice, and that way you can kind of, even though you're probably going to make your own mistakes, you can avoid some mistakes by listening to other people who have gone before you. And I think that you can save yourself some time and heartache if you do that. So I'm super excited as you embark on this journey of becoming a better version of yourself, whether that's just a better version of you, you want to be a better parent, you want to be a better professional, you want to be better at XYZ, whatever. I'm just super excited for you to start on that path. I just know that it really helped me when I just felt completely overwhelmed with like motherhood, and like it kind of helped me find ways to take time for myself throughout the day. And I just think that that's really important. I just think that it's really helped me to think of things as, like becoming a better person's a marathon, not a sprint. And as much as I want to wake up tomorrow and like do all the things, that's just not how I've been doing things. And so to think that I'm just going to wake up tomorrow and be this great person, like you have to do the work. And so the 1% rule is really just about doing the work. And so I'm really excited. I'm continuing on this journey. I'm excited for you to start or to continue on this journey. Let me know what your goals are in the bottom. I'd love to go through them with you and just have some conversations with you in the comments about it. And I just really hope that you got something out of this video, and thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.